What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some big news that's coming out that could be affecting Tesla next week. What's happening with President Trump and other factors that could affect Tesla, what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or sign up with my QR code that's right over here. Moomoo is an amazing global brokerage that consists of many exclusive offers. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000, and you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and the offer ends at the end of July. Anyways, as far as the market's going, Tesla's making higher highs and higher lows. It's quite evident that we're looking quite bullish. But if we end up losing this 315 era, there's going to be a risk of us seeing more downside. And as of right now, there's no sign of this. I don't really see this as a rising wedge. This looks more like a channel to me as Tesla's continuing to break out higher. And I think this may continue to push for the time being. Now, going into earnings, what typically happens is Tesla does see some upside as we approach earnings, but the move after earnings is not always guaranteed as it depends on what's announced and how investors interpret what Tesla is going to give us. So keep that in mind as time goes on. Now, as far as Tesla's going, Tesla's scheduled to report the second quarter earnings after closing the bell on Wednesday, after deliveries came short of estimations. Now, with this coming out, we're going to be watching to see what happens with Tesla's margins. How does Tesla do when it comes to their sales forecasts? What's the forecast going to be for the end of the year when it comes to their overall deliveries? And also, what's going to happen with their overall guidance? So keep all of that in mind for these big deliveries. Now, for Tesla's earnings, I want to say that some analysts are not too excited. They're warning us that margins are going to be kind of weaker and they're concerned about their sales. So keep that in mind. There's not a whole lot of confidence amongst investors that Tesla's going to kill it. Many of them think that Tesla might come a little bit short, and that's why there's been some warnings of downgrades for Tesla approaching the big event. On top of this, Tesla's been launching a long list of new discounts and incentives in the US as the $7,500 federal tax credit is ending. This may cause a big surge in sales because people may be trying to just buy the Teslas before the tax credits end. So this could be some good news for Q3, and we're going to have to see how this ends up affecting their sales. The big beautiful bill would be kind of like ending the EV mandate and also ending the overall lease incentive. The $7,500 tax credit ends on September 30th. So keep that in mind. That's what's happened so far. And we're going to see if this can help their sales or not. Tesla also has a free 1 month full FSD supervised trial. And there's also going to be a $1,000 off for American heroes, from military personnel, teachers, students, and etc. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of discounts that Tesla's trying to impose to help their sales improve. That is some good news. Now, Tesla has a new head of sales that's come out. His name is Raj. He is a senior executive with a wide purview, including many IT and data functions backgrounds. And he took over the main sales role for Tesla, but he is getting some criticism amongst mainstream sources because they're saying that he does not have sales experience and this and that. In my opinion, I think that what's very important is to watch and see what his ideas are and how he could really work to help improve Tesla's sales. Now, keep in mind that a lot of things are outside of Tesla's executives' controls, such as the political aspect of Tesla, as it's getting a lot of criticism for that, and other things such as interest rates that are affecting their sales. So it's not entirely going to be, the executives' fault. So we can't blame everything on their sales team. But at the same time, the sales team can work to try to improve things. You have to give them credit. Now, Tesla had very experienced sales members, and their sales could still decrease despite having that. You have to keep that in mind. So, correlation does not mean causation. You can't just pin everything on one person. Now, as far as Raj goes, I know that sources say that he may not have the most experience in sales, but I just want to say that I'm not going to worry about that yet. What's going to matter is how does he perform for Tesla? What ideas does he bring to the table? And what can he really do? Because if Tesla hired him, then he does have necessary qualifications and he could have very, very good ideas. So I'm going to put my faith in him. I'm going to give him a chance and let's see what happens with their sales. Let's see what he ends up telling us about their new incentives and such. And we'll give him a chance. We can't just rule him out just like that. Let's give him a chance and see what happens with their numbers as time goes on. Tesla could have a stronger Q3 if we start to see lots of sales incentives due to the EV mandate ending and the tax credits coming to an end on September 30th. So that could be another incentive. Goldman Sachs remains more neutral on Tesla. The price price ratio is climbing a bit, though Tesla's gaining some strength. And then we also have seasonality where Tesla tends to be between 52 and about 52% of the time on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we'll see how this goes for Tesla, at least moving forward. On top of this, when it comes to the economic calendar, on Monday, we don't really have much coming out, but on Tuesday, we have the Richmond Fed manufacturing and services numbers. So watch for some volatility at 10 a.m., alongside Jerome Powell giving a speech in the morning. So we have Jerome Powell giving a speech and some manufacturing numbers on Tuesday. That's going to be a more volatile, bigger data day. On Wednesday, it's very quiet. We just have home sales and crude data. On Thursday, however, we have the S&P Global Composite Manufacturing and Services PMI reports, which could cause some volatility. And we have some bill auctions also coming out. So look for some volatility on Thursday as a result. And on Friday, we have minor data. So keep all of that in mind. So I do expect a lot of volatility on Tuesday and Thursday because of our data. And then for next week, Monday, we have Domino's Pizza and Verizon announcing earnings in the morning and minor ones on aftermarket close. On Tuesday, we have Coca-Cola and GM announcing earnings. And then on Wednesday, it's going to be a huge day since we have Tesla, Alphabet, and the IBM also announcing their earnings. So IBM is going to be important, but the two main ones are going to be Tesla and Alphabet/Google. Expect a lot of volatility once this comes out. AT&T is going to be quite important for communications, but I think the two big ones for the week are Tesla and Alphabet. So be prepared for volatility on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have Intel and American Airlines, and that's pretty much it. Then I think the week after the one that's coming up, we're going to have even more big tech reports. So be prepared for that as well. That's what's going to be affecting Tesla and etc. For more news, let me go back to President Trump. So President Trump has been saying a lot of important things. He's saying that despite the fact that the EU wants to form a deal, we did see an initial 30% tariff imposed on them, or to be imposed on August 1st if they don't come up with a deal. But as the EU is now scrambling to make a deal, they want to see lower tariffs. President Trump, however, is saying that he wants to see a minimum of basically a 15 to 20% tariff on the EU, even if there is some kind of deal. He did say that very recently. That's what he's been saying so far, and he thinks it's going to be very, very beneficial. We heard that from President Trump. Secondly, he's been talking about the trade deals. He's talked about how there could be a deal coming with Vietnam and India. And he said there's going to be a lot of negotiations with China and other countries that are very, very friendly. And he's very optimistic about the trade deals that should be coming. So we're going to see what that leads to in the next 1 to 2 weeks. On top of this, President Trump has been saying that he wants to impose a 50% duty on copper. That could cause some volatility. Goolsbee from the Fed, who is the Chicago Fed president, is saying that the new tariffs could undercut their ability to cut rates faster. So that's some important news that's come out. He's saying this may delay rate cuts. So that's very important. However, Waller from the Fed, he is once again the Fed governor. He has been saying that he wants to see some more changes. He believes that the Fed should cut rates in July instead. This guy is saying July should be when we start cutting rates because of the effect it's going to have on employment. So the Fed have some mixed views right here. Despite this, there's a 95% chance the Fed's going to keep rates the same at the next FOMC meeting, which is going to be on July 30th. Then there won't be another one until September, so keep that in mind. And finally, CPI has been trending upwards, especially for all items. That could be a reason why the Fed may have to keep rates higher for longer. Greed makes up the majority of sentiment, and indicators still remain bullish. So for now, the market does still have some upside potential. So Tesla's looking like this. We're going to see if this dips a bit to 325 and continues to uptrend for the mid 330s. It's still looking a bit more bullish. If we lose 320, though, we could be dumping more, but this is still favoring the upside as buyers are defending on the 4-hour time frame. On the daily time frame, Tesla's also looking very bullish, favoring an attempt for basically 330 approaching earnings. Break of 330 for 335 plus, we still look more bullish. So far, so good. On SPY, if we end up losing basically this 618 area, that's going to be more bearish. But as long as we hold support, we're going to be favoring the upwards direction. If we lose 622, we could be dumping a lot more, but I think that we're making higher highs and higher lows. And we're going to be favoring basically the 630s as our potential targets. So I don't want to see us lose 625. If we lose that, we could be dipping more. As long as we hold 625 to 627, we're going to be favoring the 630s. Overall, there's potential, at least nonetheless. On the QQQ, we need to lose 558 and 555 to turn more bearish. We could dip a little bit, but I want to see us basically hold support and continue to bounce for this 560s. So keep that in mind. For the IWM, we have 225 as resistance and 220 as our support. We're sort of going back and forth right now between supply and demand. We're going to see if we bounce. We could be dipping to 220. Let's see if buyers defend or not. On ES, as long as you don't lose 63.20, we're favoring a bounce as well for the 63.50s. On NQ, we're looking bullish. If we end up losing 23,000, we're looking for a dump. As long as you hold support, we're looking for 23,300. Bitcoin is looking more bullish. As long as you hold 117,000, we could be looking for a bounce for 120,000 plus. It hasn't lost support despite the fact that there's head and shoulders here. I want to see us lose 116,000 to be bearish, but as of right now, we're range bound between 117 and 120,000. Like I said before, Tesla's looking bullish, favoring 335 plus if this continues. Nvidia could dip a little bit, but as long as you hold 170, we could bounce and continue to uptrend. As long as you don't lose 170, we could continue to uptrend. Apple's very choppy, favoring 212 as a potential target. Netflix has been dipping after earnings came out. Earnings were not bad, but margins did decrease just a little bit. Besides that, everything was really solid for earnings. Very strong growth and good guidance. But the share price could be retesting 1180 to 1200. We're going to see if we bounce. For pounds here, we're going to see if we can hold above 150 or not, and we'll see if we bounce or not. So look for a small dip. For AMD, we have 155 and then 150 as our support. So we're going to see if we bounce off that range or not. For Coinbase, we could be retesting 403, and we're going to see if we bounce. For Amazon, if we end up losing 222 or turning bearish, we might be testing 224, and we'll see if we bounce off that or not. Meta's trying to rebound, looking for 708 to 712, and we're going to see how it reacts. Google looks more bullish. We're going to be looking for an attempt to push towards 188. And Microsoft could be dipping back down towards 507, if not as low as like 502, and we'll see if buyers defend. So look for some downside on Microsoft, and we'll see if buyers defend. The VIX is dipping here. We have this big wick forming here, so we could be dipping to fill some of these gaps down here. So give this the time it needs, and we're going to have to see how things end up going. That's going to be very key for how we end up moving. So Tesla looks more bullish, approaching earnings. There's a good chance we try to go a little higher. As long as we don't lose any critical support, I think Tesla's looking quite solid. But the real move is going to come after earnings. So we'll see if Tesla continues to pump or not after then, which is going to be next Wednesday. So make sure you guys are ready for that just to be safe. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out for next week. So please enjoy the weekend as it is. Use this as time to unwind, relax if you guys can. And I'll see you guys very, very soon in the next video. I thank you all so much for listening. Have a good one and peace out.